Hello friends, welcome back to the video series in Oracle PL SQL programming. In this video, we would check how we can create any new user in the Oracle SQL. Yet now we have done our jobs with the system user and the sys user. Other than system and sys, we can create new user also. So let's check it in practical way. At first, we have to log in the Oracle database using the username, system and the password. As you know, throughout the video series is password. So we are now connected to the Oracle database. Practically, to create a new user, we need the system user. The system user can create the new user. And to create the new user, we have to type create user. Suppose the name of the user we are creating is Shumon Dash. Then identified by the password, that is we are writing as password, semicolon, press enter. Now here is an error. Now the error is invalid common user or role name. Practically, we need to log in to pluggable database in that container and then we can create the regular user. So to do that, we have to type connect system \password as sysdba, semicolon, press enter and then type alter session set within double quote underscore ORACLE in capital underscore SCRIPT script end of double quote is equal to true, semicolon, press enter. Now execute the same statement for the user creation previously. That means create user Shumon Dash identified by password. Press enter. Now the user has been created. Now to connect to the new user Shumon Dash, we have to disconnect from the Oracle database from the system user. At first, clear the screen for better view. Then DISC to disconnect from the user. So disconnected from the Oracle database 21C. Now connect to the user Shumon Dash and for that type con. Enter username, that is Shumon Dash, and the password we have provided, that is password. Now the user Shumon Dash lacks create session privilege, so the login is denied. Let's check what we can do now. So our next part would be to grant permission to any particular user, and for that we can use the grant command or the keyword grant. At that moment we are logged in the system user. So once again we have to log in using the user system con, then we are providing the username system and then the password as password. So we are now connected to the user system. We can also check it using show user and the user is system. So next we would give the user access to the new user Shumon Dash. We use grant to grant or revoke the access for any user. Grant is a DCL or data control language. Let type grant create session, comma, create table, comma, create view, comma, create synonym to Shumon Das, the user, semicolon, press enter. Grant succeeded. At first, we have created the session. Without it, any user such as Shumon Das cannot log in. Then we can assign some privileges, as here we have created only the system privileges, and with that system privilege, user can execute all the DDL commands or the DDL statements. Remember, we can grant these permissions to multiple users also, and for that we can use the comma, such as user 1, comma user 2, comma user 3, etc. Or we can also use the keyword public to grant access to all the users. However, it is not recommended, as you know why. Now, if we want to connect the database for user Shumon Das, we have to disconnect it from the user system, and for that type DISC. So we are now disconnected from the Oracle database for the user system. Now con and username Shumon Das, and then the password is the password. So now we are connected to the user Shumon Das. But if we want to view any data from any table using schema also for other user like system, such as the employee table, we cannot access it because user system is not granting permission to view the table data to other user. Let's check it, and for that at first clear the screen. If we want to check what is the system, then you may check show user. The user is Shumon Das. Now we are writing select star from the table employee. As you know that employee table has been used throughout the video series. Select star from employee. Now the table or view does not exist. Once again, if we type select star from the user system dot employee, here also the output table or view does not exist. So the user system has to grant the permission to view the table data to the user Shumon Das. So we have to connect to the user system once again to grant the object privileges. Object privilege means granting permission for any object such as table, view, etc. So at first disconnect from the user Shumon Das and then connect with the user system, and the password, as you know, is password. Type grant select on the table employee to Shumon Das. That means the user. So the grant succeeded. Now if we want to grant only insert and update on the employee table for the user Shumon Das, we have to use the statement like grant insert, comma, update on employee to Shumon Das. Remember, we are now in the user system. Grant succeeded. Now, if we want to update only any particular column, that can be also granted to update for the user Suman Das. We can also grant the delete permission to the user Suman Das. And for that, use the statement like grant, insert, and for any particular column like suppose first name. So we are writing first name, then we are using the delete permission or grant on employee to Suman Das. Press enter and the grant succeeded. Now, if we use the statement adding more 3 words with grant option, the user Suman Das itself can grant these permissions to the other users without the help of system user. At first, clear the screen and now type grant insert comma update first name comma delete on employee to Suman Das and with grant option semicolon. Grant succeeded. So here user Suman Das is treated as grantee for the table employee. Remember, user Suman Das here is a grantee with object privilege only, but not with the system privilege. Let's connect with the user Suman Das once again. So disconnect from the user system. So now we are disconnected from the Oracle database for the user system. Now connect with the user Suman Das. So username Suman Das and the password is password. And here at first set lines 276 for the better view. And now type select star from system dot employee the table, and here the records are accessible. So if we don't want any schema for the table employee, here we can use the synonym also, and for that at first clear the screen. So type create synonym employee SD, suppose SUD for system dot employee. Synonym created. However, that particular synonym would be discussed later. Now we can view the table with that particular synonym employee SUD. Let's check it with select star from employee SUD semicolon, press enter. Now as we can grant any privilege to any user, we can revoke also the privilege from the user. So connect using the system user once again, and for that at first clear the screen and now disconnect from the user system, sorry, for the user Suman Das, and now connect with the user system. Then the password is password throughout the video series for the user system. Now we are connected with the user system. Now type for revoke create views from Sumon Das, semicolon, press enter. There is an error, that means missing or invalid privilege, because this privilege view was not granted. But if we revoke or type revoke create table from Sumon Das, here the revoke succeeded, that means no error, as this table privilege was granted to the user Sumon Das. Now if we want to revoke the object privilege from the user Sumon Das, that means we can type revoke delete, delete, delete on employee from Sumon Das. The revoke succeeded. So this is how we can grant and revoke the privilege for the user. In the practical scenario, in any company, there are more than 500 or 1000 or even more than 10,000 employees. In that condition, to grant privileges for the individual users is not possible. Rather, in that case, the company has different roles for different users. So, some users have to follow some rules where company can have different 40 or 50 roles. So, let's check how we can grant privileges for different users with different roles, or in simple words, how to manage roles for users. So at first we have to create a role. Let it is named as developer. So create role developer, semicolon, press enter. Now there is an error, invalid common user or role name, and for that we are changing the name of the role from developer to suppose develop. And once again, the error is the invalid common user or role name, because we have to type connect system slash password as sysdba, and then alter session set double quote underscore oracle underscore script end of double quote is equal to true. Session altered. Now we can create the role developer or develop as you want. So create role developer. Now the role created. At first clear the screen for once again better view. Now we would grant some object privilege or system privilege to that particular role developer, and then we would assigning the role to the users. And for that, type grant create table, comma, create session, comma, create view to the role developer, semicolon, and press enter. Now the grant succeeded. So here we have assigned some system privilege to the role developer. We can also grant some object privileges also to the role developer as discussed earlier. Then assign the users to that particular role, such as grant developer to Sumon Das, semicolon, press enter. Grant succeeded. As soon as the grant successful, the user Sumon Das has all the object and system privileges granted to the role developer. So as like granting role to the user, we can revoke also as the reverse process for the users. So this is how we can create user, grant object and system privileges to the user, and moreover grant access to any role for the user.